Okay, thank you for your patience. As I mentioned at the start of the call, my name is Ian Bate. I work in the marketing team here at Enterpryze. Alongside me today, I've got Dave Spall, who is our head of sales, and also Malika Sanoon, who is our product consultant. Today, we're going to be looking at the expense and finance applications and modules in Enterpryze. Giving you an online demo and showing you some of the tools which are available. Before we get things kicked off, I'd just like to run through some very quick housekeeping rules. We are recording today's presentation, so we can send you out a copy of the recording and obviously the slides. There are some links in there, so we'll send those across for kind of ease of use and convenience. And we will be having a very quick Q&A at the end of the presentation. So if you do have any questions or anything that you'd like to see, or any inquiries about kind of the software or how it works, etc., you will notice on your go-to webinar control panel there is this question section. What we do is we do keep everyone on mute throughout the presentation, just so there's no background noise or distractions to the presenters. But obviously we do try and keep these as open and as interactive as possible. So please send any questions through using that questions tab, and obviously we'll go back to those at the end of the presentation. Okay, I'll hand over to Dave now and we'll kick things off.
Fantastic. Thanks Ian, and welcome everyone on the call this morning. So we're going to show you expense and finance today to make sure that all users are really getting the most out of Enterpryze. So this webinar will really highlight how Enterpryze can help both finance departments and indeed all employees that are incurring expenses on the road to step away from what can be a burdensome exercise of keeping paper receipts, managing expense spreadsheets, and instead really get to grips with their finances, manage cash flow in a more effective manner, and so help grow their business and run their business better. So for those, and I see that we've got several new names that are coming to the webinar today. What I want to just talk about, just bear with me as I try and get the presentation to run here. There we go. Is the reason for Enterpryze, and it's really to satisfy that emerging cloud and mobile need that we see in the marketplace as more and more companies want to do more of their business and run better with SAP Business One. And what the market's been telling us over the last years is really that mobile access and automation saves organizations money. Mobile access saves on administration, and mobile access offers a better user experience, enhanced security, so forth. So it really makes sense on every level, and gave rise to the concept of Enterpryze to offer to the market mobile access for employees into their company's SAP Business One systems. So rather than just a core, perhaps central office headquarters running SAP and a core group, a limited group of SAP Business One users, what Enterpryze is looking to offer is an extension and giving access to more people across the organization, across lines of business, across mobile elements of the employee base who are mobile or light users. So it's typically for those who never have had and perhaps may never need a full Business One license, but that can still significantly benefit from access to that B1 system so that they can conduct more of their business in front of customers, on the road, in real time, and conduct their business. What these mobile or light users are able to do is really pull that core information to help them run their business better in an easy to use and easy to consume mobile first solution, which is what Enterpryze represents. So we have a suite of modules supported by mobile applications over and above the web application, which we'll show you very shortly. And as a part of that, Expense, as I've indicated, offers anyone from leadership teams through to sales reps, mobile engineers, van delivery drivers, anyone who incurs expenses on the road can now manage the entire expense process within Enterprise, which then upon approval, as we'll show you shortly, is pushed back into SAP. So it's visible there under the Finance tab and fully auditable. Likewise, Finance also gives that real-time access and the real-time insight into what money is coming into an organization from sales invoices, what's being paid out for goods and services through purchase invoices. And users are now able, through this extended access, to create, edit, and submit for approval in Enterprise those invoices, so that, that again, the paper-based trail is automated within a system that is visible to more. So key delivery of business benefits for an organization. What I'd like to do, rather than talk about it too much more, as we indicated, is to now hand you over to Malika Sanoon. She's our product consultant here, and she'll show you, how easy it can be to simply manage both expense and how you can easily enhance visibility of finance with Enterprise. Over to you, Malika.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the expenses and finance. So I'll be starting by the module of expenses, and as Dave was explaining to you guys, it's a combination of a mobile application and the web application. So in here I have a simulator for my phone. What I'm going to do for the moment, I'm going to select the application called Enterprise Expenses. If you go to your, you can download it from the app stores. So it's the green application. When you open this, you have to click on plus. If you have a receipt or you have a mileage, it depends what kind of expense you want to put into the company. So let's just start by the new receipt. And the new receipt, you have a kind of category. These categories are defined in the setup. I'll show you later on in the end of the expense demonstration. So for example, I used the taxi today and I have a receipt from the taxi. It could be today, or it could be, for example, yesterday, and you forget to put it in the same day, so you can change the date, all right? And the projects, let's say, for example, if you're a consultant or you're working on a project, so you would like to register your expenses against the project, and it's good for the accountant that keep track on their expenses. You put also an amount, let's say is 25 currency. You can put your local currency. It's also, you can use expenses for if you are abroad at the countries, or for example USD or other currencies. We support all currencies for the moment, okay? For the, in this example, I'm just going to use GBP. And you can see that the rate here is 1. Whereas if I put euro, the rate will change in this screen. All right. The location by default, it will detect my current location. I am based in Dublin. All right, but if I can change the location, I put it, for example, I was in Cork because I was traveling and I didn't put my expenses on the real time. That's the purpose of the location. Purpose is very important, so for your manager, so he would know why these expenses have been submitted, and he will help him to approve or disapprove the expense. Paid by, so you have two options for the expenses. Either you paid by me, which is like I used my credit card or I used my cash, or you can also choose company. That means like you have a credit card of the company. So in this example, I'm going to choose by me. We have another indicator, customer billable. This like an indicator that helps the accounting departments to collect all the expenses need to be billable for their customers. All right. So you have two options, and then you can save draft if you're not sure or you didn't find your receipt, okay, and then you can submit it later. Or if you're sure, you go to the picture option, you go on the top here, you can take a picture. I'm gonna take a picture of my keyboard here, but you can imagine that we can take a picture of any invoice or expense receipt. You click OK. Now we have the picture attached to the expense. Okay, we have it on the top. I'm going to submit this expense. I need to put a purpose. The purpose is a mandatory field. So customer visit. All right. Scroll up and then I click on submit expense. I am done. As like a person that I have to submit the expense, for me, my job is done. I put the receipt. Now it goes to the approval person and it goes to the accountant in the end. So the approver is another user in this case. So the module of expense, when you log in the first time to Enterprise, you will have here the module expense on the top. If I want to see my expenses, that's the one I have just put it in there. It's 25 euro. It's converted to GBP because our demo database, its local currency is GBP. If I want to change anything that I forget to put, maybe I can put here edit, and then I can edit the expense before it goes to my manager. All right? Go back to my expenses. My approver, it's another user, which is demo2. So I'm going to show you here, I'm logging to Enterprise again with demo2 to approve this expense. If I go to my expenses, the approver usually, he has a screen called approver review, expense review screen. Under this screen, you will have all the users that needs to be approved. I have here demo 1, and he just has submitted today a 25 euro expense. I can review the expense. I see the details. I see the purpose. Okay, that's fine. Then I can approve it. I can approve more than one expense. It's not like you have to approve one by one. You can click in several one. I imagine that you don't do this every day, so maybe in the end of the day or in the end of the week. So for the moment, I'm just going to approve this one. And approve. We have a message of a confirmation. So my expense for the demo 1 has been approved. Expense approved. If I go back to my expenses here and refresh my screen, my 25 euro expense has been approved here with the status. All right, now the approver done his job. The one who put the expense done his job. Now the job is for the accountant. They have a draft invoice. Why we call it a draft invoice in Enterprise? Just in case if the GL account is not correct or the VAT is not correct. So the accountant, they still can change their draft invoice before to be submitted into SAP. I'm going to submit it. If I am happy with this entry, I just click on submit. What happened in this case, it will create an AP invoice in SAP against the employee as a vendor. Okay? So that's it for the module expenses. Now I'm going to show you the setup, how the module demo 1 was approved by demo 2 and etc. In the settings here, we have several tabs. One of the tabs concerned by the expense module is item matrix and expenses. The item matrix, you're going to put your type of expense. So for example, we have parking, dinner, mileage, travel, taxi. You can define as much as you want. There is no limits in these lines. You just have to click on plus here. You put your type of item matrix. You select the expense. You put the descriptions. Let's say, for example, here, accommodation. And then you select the VAT associated to this expense. You select the exempt VAT if there is, you have the option when the expense submitted abroad, then it will take this exempt VAT. You associate also the GL code to this accommodation, it's usually the same name as the expense. Okay? You select also, I'm going to select any account here, and then you select the cost centers if you have cost centers. I'll save my item matrix. And I have the line. Now, the second tab is I need to set up the people who are going to set up the expenses and the approver. So here is the same principle. You click on plus. You select your enterprise user from this side. You select it is a company paid or employee paid. And also you have the ability that for each user can have two options, either employee paid and or company paid. You will associate also the sub-supplier. We call it sub-supplier, but it's actually you create an employee as a sub-supplier in SAP, and you associate it in here because it creates an AP invoice in SAP. You select its authorizer. It's also it is an enterprise user. GL code and cost center, you're going to tell me I already selected GL code in the item matrix, but the purpose in this case, some companies, they proceed differently. We don't associate the GL code to the expense, but we associate the GL code to the users. So if I want to follow up the expenses, I can follow up that by users. Cost centers, if you are using the cost centers, so you can select the 5 dimensions of that user for the expense. Another option in the settings for the mileage, so here we have, you can set up the mileage of the company, the threshold of the company, and what is the rate above the threshold. This is set up by company, but you can do a special like rate per user. So you can just click on this pen and then you put your special rate and the special threshold and etc. What you do, and then you just have to save your setup. So that's it. So we have 2 setup, item matrix and expenses. Item matrix, the type of the expense, and expenses, the type, the user setup. So that's it for expenses, and I will continue with the finance, and I hope if you have any questions on expenses, please don't hesitate to write it in the chat later on. Finance module. In the finance module, we can keep track of the sales invoices have been created in SAP. So they will be displayed in this screen. And when we have here create a new sales invoice, it's more to select service invoices. Let's say, for example, you have to send like service invoices, you do services. Okay, so what you do in this case, you click on the sales invoice. You select your customer, your contact person, ship address, bill address, it depends the purpose of the invoice. You select here the sales invoice. Those are not SAP items, but they are services items defined in Enterprise, again in the item matrix in the settings. So you define here, and then the GL code will be populated automatically because in the settings already done. You put your amount here. The VAT code also it's populated automatically, and also you can select your cost centers associated to this invoice. You click on add and then you save the invoice. You have also the ability to send an invoice to your customer. So if you selected the contact person, and then you can have. And that's the principle, for the same principle for sales invoice, credit note, purchase invoice, and purchase credit note. We have also in the finance, you can do the incoming payments. You create a new incoming payments. You select your customer. And then it will populate all open invoices. You can click on allocated. You can select which cash invoice or bank account you need to send this. You put your amount of that invoice. And what you need to do, just save. And then it will create, sorry, I didn't put the right amount. And then it will create the incoming payment in SAP. We have also, you can create also a journal entry in SAP. And it's the same in Enterprise, the same as it is in SAP. The settings, just I show you just the settings for the AP invoice and AR invoice. You go to item matrix, the same as expenses, but in this case you click on plus and you select either sales, purchase for resales or purchase for non-resales. And you have to just to put the VAT code, the exempt VAT, GL code, and cost center. So the last thing I'm going to show you for the expense, we have also an application called Credit Controller. So I'm going to display my screen of my phone. I have here this application called Credit Controller. So basically when I log in with demo 1, you see here I have demo 1. It will display all my favorite customers, or I can display my all customers. I can see only from the period, the age period, or I can select one of them, one of these invoices or more than one. I click on pay. I select the method of payment. It could be cash or it could be credit card, and then you have to fill in your credit card there. And then click on pay, and then it creates an incoming payment in SAP. Sorry, I didn't choose the right GBP. So that's for the finance module. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Malika. Okay, we have got some questions here that have come in from the floor. As Malika mentioned a moment ago, we have got a couple of minutes reserved. So if you do have any questions around any of the software or as Enterprise as a solution, now is the time to send those through, and we will run through those with Dave and Malika. Okay, a question here with regards to expense. Can you submit an expense if you have lost a receipt?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Another question here with regards to expense. Is the currency conversion automatically updated daily?
The exchange rate comes from the website, the global bank.
Okay. And
okay.
Is that something that's updated automatically, Malika, or is that something?
Yes, it's a website, like, you know, it's like exit.com. It comes from there, the exchange rate.
Okay. Another question here for about expenses. Do you get an alert does the user get an alert if the expense has been rejected?
So this will be coming in the next sprint. Yes, we are working on that.
Okay.
Which will be in 2 weeks time.
Excellent. Okay, watch this space for that then. Another question here with regards to finance. Is there any sort of proof of completion or proof of payment, I should say, on the finance app? I guess that's in relation to the cash process.
So basically, when you go to the finance, if some invoices has been paid, they won't like display, and to follow up with the incoming payment or outgoing payment, they should follow that in SAP.
Excellent. Okay. A question here from Niall. With regards to the expenses exchange rate, is the exchange rate the same that is in SAP or that SAP uses?
Usually the accountants, they use like also the same website, okay? And if there is like a difference in the exchange rate, what they do in the end of the period, they can just create a journal entry to adjust the exchange rate.
Excellent. I hope that answers your question, Niall. Okay, we don't seem to have any more questions that have come in at the moment, so I think we'll kind of wrap things up for today. Thank you very much to Dave and to Malika as well. If you would like any more information around Enterprise, you can go onto the website www.enterprise.com. There is a solutions page there where you can find out more information. We have got various other kind of how-to demos and information demos around Enterprise on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, search for Enterprise, you'll find all of those there. And obviously, I would also encourage you to kind of follow our social media feed as well, which is at getenterprise.com. I'll just put those links on screen for you now so you can see those. What we will do, obviously, as I mentioned at the start of the call, is we'll send around a copy of the slides so you can see all the slides. There you go. So you can find out more information around Enterprise on the website and on the solutions page. We also are more than happy to provide you with demo access so you can kind of have a play around of Enterprise, see how it works for you and your business. The user details are all there on screen. And also, if you do have any further questions, obviously please send those through to Dave. You can get in touch with him at sales@enterprise.com or email him directly, dspall@enterprise.com. Okay, we will wrap things up for today. Thank you very much to Dave and Malika for your presentations, and we hope to see you shortly for another one of our Enterprise webinars. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.